Fabrizio. I'm an interdisciplinary artist and a recent 2020 MFA recipient from the School of Museum of Fine Arts. I came to Boston 2 years ago via Philadelphia, where I was born and raised, and my family still resides. A lot of my work is influenced by my family home and my personal experience, and I actually use my family home as an inspiration for a lot of the interdisciplinary materials and processes that are involved. I think that my current work falls somewhere between the intersection of architecture, sociology, and visual arts. So I'm using a lot of construction materials, both in 3D work and in 2D work as substrates and layers and materials, as well as interior decor. And some of the processes are taken from a construction standpoint, as well as art methodologies and processes as well. So carving, layering, drawing and painting, printmaking, and all of those things kind of combined. I'm super excited to be included in the Arlington Created Equal show. For this piece, I had submitted several pieces and was excited that my piece Wallflower 1 was accepted into this show. This is a part of a larger portrait series. And I think the main mentality or the main concept behind this was to illustrate the occupation of an in-between space. I was particularly excited with the theme of created equal and the opportunity for me to then represent a visual representation kind of beyond the prescribed heteronormative image of what a woman is. So in this particular portrait, it's actually a picture of my partner, and I'm using symbolism, I'm using different processes to merge feminine and masculine attributes, or prescribed feminine and masculine attributes. Also, this was done just when I had arrived to Boston, and I thought it was really peculiar, or I had noticed, I don't know how peculiar it is now, that there's all these empty grass spaces that are just fenced in. So it's like, it's individual yards, but this space that's just fenced in by these old like iron fences. So the image of an iron fence is used there, images of floral wallpaper. My partner is dressed in, it's kind of her roller derby bout day uniform. We have a history of playing roller derby together, so she's in her vest and tie, so it's a very derby professional look maybe. And then kind of a traditional profile portrait. I'm also mixing mediums in this particular piece as well. It's done on birch panel. The piece itself, though, is done on paper that's adhered to this. There's silk screen involved. So the iron fence, even though it's a hard material, has a transparency to it because of the process that is laid over it. Yeah, so acrylic, watercolor, silk screen, all plays a part in this piece. Talking creatively equal and including the theme of suffrage and voting, and particularly women votes. I wanted a broader visual of women to be included, and I thought that this was my opportunity. I think that we all, or at least I can speak for myself, I use my personal experience and my family, my chosen family, and my relationships in my work to kind of relate to the broader conversation. And this is one way that I feel that I can do that. And I guess through all of my work, my hope is that there's a sense of unity found within our differences. So each of us have our own story. Each of us don't fit neatly into one box. And I guess that's another big underlying theme in my work. I use all of these layers to kind of represent the emblematic layers of the individual. We're never just one thing. So I felt like this was really an appropriate entry into the show to expand what might be the perceived definition of woman, and to include it in a way that I can speak to personally. As all things, I feel like some things come full circle, and as artists, we're constantly circling themes, and then we end up coming back to them and almost expanding upon them. So I feel like this body of work almost started with this piece, Wallflower 1, and really talking about an in-between space, and then it expanded even further and talking about the layers and talking about maybe perceived binaries of modern and traditional, and also a whole lot of labor, both in the processes I use and the work that happens within the domestic and with outside the domestic, public and private space, and all of this. And I found that my work has now circled back to talk about this in-between space again. Mm-hmm. So I'm currently, I finished a piece yesterday that I'm a little bit excited about, and it also talks about this in-between space using the construction materials, specifically a hideaway door in my family house, and this middle room that kind of all of us have had ownership at one time or another, to talk about the larger idea of an in-between space. And I'm also working on a one medium, and it's been a while. I'm doing a traditional oil painting that's called Holding Pattern. Right. And it's actually a self-portrait that I'm pretty excited about. It's almost finished. But again, talking about this in-between space, because it highlights actually the reflection or the shadowed silhouette and the figure, but not necessarily the identity of the face.